Welcome to the Great American Slavery Debate. Today, our students will become the real-life characters who represented a nation divided by slavery in the 1850s and 1860s in the United States.
Well, I think it felt pretty good. So then we can learn about the old people back in the old times, and I think it was a really cool experience for us to do.
Black troops were turned away even though they fought in the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812.
I was a historian, and I learned that slavery is very cruel, and blacks didn't deserve that kind of treat. They didn't deserve that.
Don't believe in slavery. We think it's very cruel. Most of us are illiterate.
Well, I'm a historian, and my role was to be someone who knows the history of slavery. And since I was the leader of the group, it was really hard to pull this all together, but it was really interesting at the end of it.
How black people never had freedom and desperate escapes.
I was a station master who housed the slaves on the Underground Railroad, and they were against slavery, and they were very religious.
We are the station masters. We housed, fed, and cared for the slaves on the Underground Railroad.
They're fourth graders, and the introduction of the slavery era, the 1850s and 1860s, is totally new to them, and taking on their point of view right from their base of learning really made it easy for them to research from that viewpoint. If they were a plantation master, they truly believed that they were justified to treat the slaves the way they did. If they were a slave on the Underground Railroad, they truly believed that they had the right to freedom. This year I added the African American Union soldiers, which I've never had in the debate before as a cooperative group. And it was very interesting to get their viewpoint, because they fought for the North, they believed in the abolishment of slavery. And yet they were not treated with equality during the war. They did not receive the same wages as the other soldiers, even though they fought, and as I mentioned in the debate, 40,000 of them lost their lives.
I really do think that they shouldn't be paid, because
Just makes me think about more of how history, hardships, and how improved we are today.
They really should be picking their own crops.
When I was researching in my classroom, I learned a lot about the slaves, because I looked up why the plantation owners owned the slaves, and I had no idea that the reason that they owned the slaves was because they wanted cheap labor, and that they wanted to they didn't want to pay people because they had a lot of money and they wanted to stay rich.
Isabella?
It was really good for us to do it for Black History Month, and it was really nice for the people who already died back then. And I think they would appreciate it if they actually saw what we were doing for them.
It may have went out of the line.
I think it was important because so many people were involved in this, like the station masters, the slaves, the plantation owners. And I think that it was so many people that we should have a month just for it. So, because it was a big moment in America's history. So.
But they would give me enough food and water to eat.
I think we're going to be reflecting tomorrow, and we're going to be talking about who won in the issue of slavery. And there, of course, was no winner. And the boys and girls have already asked me, were we the best in the debate? Did we have the best viewpoint? For them to understand that the slavery was a very cruel activity that took place during this time. And that the boys and girls have learned that there was evil in our history, there was injustice, there was inequality, but it was the real history that took place. And the outcome of that, of course, was eventually the abolishment of slavery as we know it today. Boys and girls, excellent job today. Thank you, parents, for coming.